Good evening. Well, for me, it's evening. Good morning for some of you. Today is I forgot to, I'll edit that later. Today is the third step or third phase in our breath practice. So I will actually do some more um, practices today to give you something if you want to do more of, in your own time. I'll give you a few practices. But first, I want to read the quotes I posted in here today for the Glorious Mysteries. Each breath is like a little rebirth, a renaissance that can only be celebrated if we recognize that it's happening. The oracle of breath unfolds its secrets to those who know the keys. The elements in breath are known as fire, earth, water, air, and ether. There is one way of breathing that is shameful and constricted, then there's another way, a breath of love that takes you all the way to infinity. Breathe deeply until sweet air extinguishes the burn of fear in your lungs, and every breath is a beautiful refusal to become anything less than infinite. So there's two infinite quotes, isn't there? And then the last one I'll read I thought was just funny and fun. Breathe in the good shit and breathe out the bullshit. And that's a really fun quote. And I'll read one more quote from a book that has practices that I use through total body connectivity through Bartenieff Fundamentals. And she writes, this is Peggy Hackney, one with the life-giving universe, one with nature's fluidity, filling and emptying in an ever ongoing cycle, being nourished, getting rid of what is no longer needed, feeling whole, no aims, no goals, simply being. So tonight, the breath practices that I'm going to offer are from my background training as a dance movement therapist and through the Bartenieff Fundamentals, which is connected to Laban Movement Analysis. Irmgard Bartenieff came over from Germany before World War II, but because of the prosecution of the Jews, and she managed to come to New York, and she worked a lot with World War II people with injuries, and she was an amazing woman, a dancer. Her husband was Russian, actually. That's where the Bartenieff comes from. Anyway, the first breath practice is very simple. And, I like doing it lying down, but you can also do it sitting, standing, whatever way. And your hands are really useful in breath. And the first part of the breathing practice is just feeling your width in your body as you inhale and you exhale. So see if you can feel that widening or that expanding, and then how it encloses around in your rib cage. So see if you can really feel that, what's called the horizontal dimension in the breathing, or the horizontal shaping that comes. So it really comes into the center, but it really widens, and you can really bring your hands on the rib cage and really feel how the breath really widens in the front of the body. And I'm kind of exaggerating, but you can do this on your own. And sometimes it's easier to feel this dimensional breathing when you're sitting, because you can feel the verticality of the body. The second one is through your head and tail. So you could sit on your hand and you feel the hand at the head. See if you can feel the lengthening when you breathe. I'm kind of exaggerating the movement, but see if you can really feel like how you inhale, everything lengthens. So it's like you lengthen into your hands, like the tailbone lengthens into your head lengthens, and then it shrinks down towards the center. And then you really lengthen through your hands, and then it really shrinks down into the center or shortens into the center. And the third dimension is forward and back. So when you breathe, you can put your hands on the front and the back of your body and feel how you really bulge into the space in front of you and behind you, and then you hollow into the center. So this is the sagittal dimension. So you can feel that. You can take your time with this. I'm doing them a little bit shorter. And then the final part is putting them all together, feeling if you can feel how you lengthen and you widen and you expand forward and back, and everything comes more into the center line when you exhale. When you inhale, it's like maybe you can use the image like I do with kids of really filling up that balloon, and as you exhale, it all comes to the center. Kids love to fill like a balloon, and then they love to go and shake it all out. So that's one way that you can do it. Play with that. So it's all three dimensions, because a lot of times what happens in our world, it becomes very flat and 2D, especially when we've been on all these Zoom things. We really get that flat screen, and then we really lose all the rest of the dimensions. So that's one way to work on really three-dimensional breathing. And then the next thing is a little breath practice with some sounds. And this also comes from Irmgard. And there's 5 sounds. So the bottom sound is an oo, and then the next one is an o, the next one's an ah, the next one's an a, and then when you get to the head, it's an I, like an EH, I. So I'm just gonna do it, and I'm gonna, I think I'll do it 3 times in each place, and then I'll just resonate it up. And you can do this on your own. Nobody has to be listening or watching. But it's a really clear way to open the diaphragm. So the first one is an ooh, ooh. And then we move up into the O, and we're opening the lateral part of the lower ribs. So O, O, O. And the next sound is an ah, 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 ah. And then the next sound is an a, 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 and then it's up into the skull, and I, and then if you go through them, it's ooh, oh, ah. ooh, oh, ah, one more. Ooh, oh, ah, a. And then if you've been doing this with me, just notice what happens in your breath. For me, I really feel a release in my diaphragm. And another practice, a hands-on practice, if you've got somebody who can do this for you, it's really beautiful, is if they put their hands, I can't do it to myself, the hands go this way onto your shoulder blades. So they put their hands on your shoulder blades. There's going to be 6 places where they put their hands. And you just breathe as somebody puts their hands on your shoulder blades and just feel the breath move in there. Then they put their hands right here up at the top. And then you breathe in there. And I'm going through this quickly, but I would highly recommend, if you have somebody in your household who can do this for you, it's just lovely. So then the hands go here, and then the hands come to the rib cage here on the side. So a person can be sitting behind you and supporting you in this. So this is the third position, hands on the rib. The next position is hands back here in the lower ribs. The fifth position is the hands right down here, kind of by your thigh sockets. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. You put your hands right in here. That's the lower part of your lung lobes. And then the last place is in your armpits. So when you have somebody who can give you this tactile support, it's really a beautiful way to feel energetically that full body of your breath. And so if you have somebody in your household can do that with you, it's so lovely. I use these practices in workshops when I'm trying to teach around breath support for movement. So the final little experiential we'll do, because I'm going a bit longer today because I'm doing more practices, is imagine yourself. It's really good to do this laying on the floor, but because of time, I'm not going to demonstrate fully. But just imagine you're like a bag of water. And so as you're breathing and moving, you just feel how you fill up with water and then how you empty. If you just use those words, filling and emptying, like that quote I read, and imagine you're like a bag of water, so that you really slosh around and feel how that really helps you get into the fluids in your body and into the flow of your body. And if we have breath support, it actually makes moving feel quite different, because the breath then supports how you move instead of all that efforting that we often do. So keep playing with that filling and emptying and that bag of water as it sloshes from side to side. See, I am going to go on the floor a little bit. And as you slosh into that, you really allow that flow of the water to move through you, so that when you start to migrate up to being on hands and knees, you let that fluidity keep going, so you're filling and emptying, and then it starts to help you make the transition up to standing, fill and empty. If you keep feeling that sloshing around like the bag of water as you move, then you can come up to standing and fill and empty and slosh around like a bag of water. And so then you can get more into the flow. And you can take one of these experiences and really do it for a while, really milk it out, and then just see what it does for you and for your aliveness and your vitality and the energy that it might give you throughout the day. So that's just a brief little exploration into some of the unique practices of breath that come through my experience as a dance therapist working with some of the Bartenieff fundamental material. So thank you and have the most glorious fluid day, really feeling the flow that can move through your whole body, because we are something like, I never get the percentage right, 98% water, 90% water. I mean, I don't even know, but we have so much fluid in our body, and if we can really feel that fluidity, it really helps keep our mobility in our body. So thank you for letting me take you on this journey in breath through the mysteries. Have a beautiful day.